Welcome to Web3 Faces, where we talk to founders, builders, and developers in the Web3 space and learn what this is all about, and to find out what personal recommendations they have for newcomers to the space. So, my name is Sebastian, I'm founder of HOPR, and I'm here today with Orkun, founder of Chainway.
Hi.
Nice to have you, Orkun.
Yeah, thank you, Sebastian. It's glad to be here.
Let's start maybe with your personal story. Like maybe start with what you did before you got into the Web3 space, and then like what got you in and what have you been doing in the past few years that you've been working here in this Ethereum ecosystem.
Okay, cool. Let me start with my Web2 experience. So I started coding in almost high school. Then I started web development. I was doing some classical PHP, HTML, that kind of stuff. Then I moved my skills to JavaScript libraries and created a design system and software system for myself. Then I started doing freelance jobs. When I started college, I was doing freelance jobs for Web3 companies actually, like NFT marketplaces or some most basic Web3 companies that needs connectables functionality, etc. Then I started wondering how does that thing work. So when I was building an NFT marketplace front end, then I think that, okay, this NFT marketplace don't have any backend, don't have any payment infrastructure. How this Web3 is working, I didn't understand, but I started researching, and then I encountered with Web3 actually. I learned about what is ETH, what the currency means, how can we pay with this, and how can we store images and music inside of these tokens. Yeah, I started looking, and after some point I completely shifted to Web3 actually.
Happy you made that move.
Yeah.
Very happy, and you made some great developments that we'll talk about in a little bit,
Yeah.
which is, I think, very relevant for the wider Ethereum ecosystem. But tell us first about your company now, Chainway, how that started and what you're doing there.
Okay, after some time in Web3 and shifting some companies, me and my friend decided to found a company. We were thinking some kind of lab that we can experiment thing that we encountered and we want to solve. Then we collect two other people from the road, and we became four co-founders. Then we started Chainway actually. Chainway's initial point is, okay, we should do something about what we think, and we need a common space like office, something like that, and we need to think. So okay, we get together and co-founded Chainway. In Chainway, we are trying to build our own product. Actually, we don't do services or we don't do some specific protocol, but we are focused on. We want to become a Web3 focused venture builder, and we are based in Istanbul. And Istanbul is a great location to maybe increase the crypto and Web3 adoption and onboard new users and onboard new developers. So we focused that we want to build our own product, and we started Chainway. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So we are based here in Istanbul right now,
Yeah.
at the leading privacy alliance, ETH Privacy Hackathon. It's a fantastic place, one of the biggest cities on the planet. And I heard actually Turkey is one of the biggest markets for many players. Like I heard from some crypto exchanges.
Yeah.
I didn't know that actually, that for many places, for many times after China and US, like many times Turkey is the third biggest market actually. It's great to see so much footprint here on the ground.
Yeah, crypto adoption is really high in Turkey. But most people use centralized exchanges and do some tokens and do some spot exchanges. But I believe that in years we will shift those people to real crypto, the decentralized crypto and the blockchains. So yeah, there's a huge potential in Turkey in terms of both users and both developers, like I said.
Wonderful. We looked into that, and that's why we said, we want to come here and also support this local ecosystem. So now you talked about bringing people to the real crypto, the decentralized version. Now, decentralization, I think, is one important pillar for bringing us towards a sustainable future that is safe for all of us. The other one is privacy. And you're working on a great product there. Kind of to get into that direction, let's maybe start with the problem. Like, does Ethereum in and by itself today provide any privacy? Like when I make Ethereum transfers, like Ether transfers or ERC20 transfers, is that private, or what is the state of that actually?
Okay, in terms of Ethereum and most current blockchains, You can transfer ETH and call some smart contracts, etc. There are all public, because Ethereum is a public ledger that do some operations on it. You can be private if you don't share your address with anyone, if you don't receive anything, or if you don't offer off-ramp or on-ramp to anywhere to your address. So you are slightly private, but it is not private. It is like pseudo-anonym. It is semi-anonym, we can say. But it is impossible to achieve. You need to have onboard on-ramps, and you need to receive money and send money to other people. And this is not private yet. This is public.
That sounds like a problem, right? So today, Ethereum, you have these pseudonymous addresses which follow me, and if you know at one point that this 0xabc123 is Sebastian, and you will be able to follow Sebastian all the time, which is kind of broken. So yeah, how do people fix that? Like, maybe walk us through some of the common ways of how people fix that, and like some of the products that achieve that.
Yeah, in the beginning, I believe most people do OTC, but it is not also the solution. It gives you your real identity. It connects your real identity to the blockchain also. So
what do you mean by OTC? Maybe explain what this
Yeah, for example, I want to pay you, and I want to off-ramp through you, and I can give you my account, you can give me my money, then I can use another account, for example. Then I disconnected those accounts, but it is not crypto, and it is not useful. It is hard process. So this is not the method, definitely. So I think the most common method was Tornado Cash, and still is Tornado Cash, I believe. People achieve privacy through mixers in the beginning. So maybe I can talk about mixers.
Yeah. So we had a session here within this podcast also on Tornado Cash. So we had Roman from Tornado here. So we go into quite some depth there. But yeah, maybe give us a recap of what Tornado Cash and shielded pools actually are.
Okay, so while you want to transfer your ETH to one of your accounts to another your account, you can't just simply send, because it will connect both of your accounts, then you will be public again. It doesn't give you any privacy. So what can we do? In fact, we can do this. We can mix our money with other people. So we need to put our money to pool, put our ETH to the pool, and we need to receive from that pool in some account after some time. But how can it be safe? For example, if I deposit and you can withdraw my money, it is not safe. So this is the point where zero-knowledge proofs come to the game. Zero-knowledge proof ensure that the withdrawer is the deposit's origin, the deposit's secret, I can say maybe. While you are depositing, you generate one secret and one nullifier. We can maybe both call them secrets. Then while you are withdrawing, you just supply the ZK proof of your secret. So you say that, okay, I know this secret, I can withdraw my money. So the system allows you to withdraw your money, and it ensures that you are the depositor. But the system itself don't know who is the depositor and who is the withdrawer. Yeah.
That's kind of cool, yeah. So I mean, I've been using Tornado Cash many times. It's really great. You get this note, right? Yeah. And then you provide just a proof when you withdraw money. So you unlink money that goes into the pool and comes out of the pool. But then there were some issues. Yeah. Like walk us through kind of the very, very unfortunate issues that happened then around the US regulations and stuff like that.
Yeah. Especially these regulations, I can say it tries to maybe make crypto safer for people, but that's not the solution, definitely. Banning something is not the solution. But regulators think that, okay, this is mixer. Some people put their money on it and withdraw. For example, I deposit some money and I withdraw, but at the same time, some bad intentioned user, for example, hackers, does the same process, because they need to deposit and they need to withdraw, so they unlink their accounts, their hacker account and their regular account. In that sense, there is some regulatory risk in terms of governments, of course. So they decided to ban the Tornado Cash. That's the unfortunate event. Like I said, that's not the solution. So yeah, they banned Tornado Cash right now, but there are other privacy tools, and there will be other privacy tools. I think we need to focus to how to solve that thing. That we need to protect both users and maybe both regulators if they want to get protected.
Yeah, because I guess the issue was, especially when there were these major bridge hacks, right, where people had north of $100 million that got kind of put into Tornado Cash, into the shielded pool, and could be taken out in an untraceable fashion. Yeah, I think many people in the crypto space agree, well, that's not good, right? So in that case, it was allegedly North Korea which deposited these stolen funds. And then we had this problem that, on the one hand, we don't necessarily want to support these regimes. On the other hand, normal users like you and me want to use that. What was very funny, actually, the Fed of the United States, the Federal Reserve, the National Bank, I think had some research paper where they said Tornado Cash is actually great privacy technology. So we have this dilemma, right? On the one hand, we have bad actors which use this privacy technology. On the other hand, even the US National Bank says this is great privacy technology. So what is the solution? Is there a way out?
Okay, I will speak personally, I think. For me, privacy should be by default in terms of everything. But people that want to be compliant can be compliant. And how can we ensure that? That was a question that we asked to ourselves. Then we decided about, okay, Tornado Cash has some compliance tools, but that compliance tools directly links depositor to withdrawer. That is not the compliance, and we want privacy, but if we expose ourselves to governments and regulators, that is not privacy also. So we decided a method that what if we can exclude ourselves from the hackers, bad intentioned users? How can we achieve that? That was I think around Tornado Cash banned that time. We encountered this idea and we tried to iterate on it. And after some point we decided that okay, we can also do this with zero knowledge proofs. Then we can both protect users' privacy and we can ensure that users are not affected from regulators' decision and also become compliant. But this compliance is privacy preserving. We really care about that. So we decided to build Proof of Innocence. It's our first project actually in Chainway. Proof of Innocence basically allows you to exclude yourself, your deposits on Tornado Cash, from a list of, maybe we can say, list of commitments actually. It is a generic list. We don't enforce any list to any user. They can just select that, okay, I want to be excluded from these commitments, these depositors. Okay, in one click you generate your zero knowledge proof and everyone ensure that your deposit is not related to those addresses. Then you can safely withdraw. There is no link. There is no privacy issue. It is all private and you are also safe. That was our solution.
That's really great. I think this is a fantastic solution that on the one hand is opt-in, right? Yeah. So I can opt in. And on the other hand, people can use it in an undisrupted way. Does this work with the existing version of Tornado Cash, or is this like a fork, a new version of Tornado Cash?
Right now, our zero knowledge circuits and verifier are deployed on Gurley testnet, which is a little bit outdated, but it's still deployed. So it directly works on Tornado Cash. We didn't fork Tornado Cash, or we didn't release the new version. After you withdraw from Tornado Cash, you can just go to the Proof of Innocence in Chainway's website. Then you can prove that you are not from a given list. Maybe you can select your list. Maybe we can have our pre-prepared list. Then you can select and you just generate your proof. For example, if Central Exchange asks you to prove that you are innocent or you are not from their blacklist, then they can then you can provide your commitment and your actually not commitment, your proof. Then they can easily verify that you are not in that list.
So at what time do I need to do that, right? So again, the process is first I deposit funds into the pool, right? I have this, in Tornado Cash, it used to be called a node, right? Yeah. And then when I withdraw from another address out of the pool, I create this proof, right? But then there's also the option that later on, after I withdrew, can I even create this proof later on, or at what point does that happen?
Our proving system, our ZK circuit, only needs your deposit node. But it doesn't reveal your node because it is the zero knowledge circuit and this input is private actually. After you withdraw, you can anytime you can generate your proof. Maybe you can generate 10 proofs or 20 proofs, depending on your list. You can provide 20 different lists, and you can provide 20. You can generate 20 proofs. Then you can provide those two related process. Yeah.
That's actually really cool, right? So I can say that there's this address which just deposited $100 million, which was obviously a hack, and like, you know, we are respectful of a lot of people, but like if you steal $100 million, like we don't necessarily want to support that. So I immediately want to create a proof that this was not me. But later on, let's say, you know, a month later, I deposited this money at a regulated exchange. I hope, by the way, that big exchanges do accept such funds, because this is not dirty money. I want to be clear that there's this distinction between, you know, privacy and money laundering, right? Yeah. We're not talking about money laundering. We're talking about tools that enable individuals to exercise their fundamental human right of privacy. And even if later on it turns out, oh, there was some other depositor who was actually kind of malicious and deposited stolen funds, and at that moment I can still provide a proof that my funds were actually not from that.
If they request from you, then you can generate new proof. It is easy.
Good. Do you foresee that, like, for example, let's say major crypto exchanges are, I don't know, having this standardized in their like fund onboarding flow or something, like ingesting your proofs and checking if that's correct?
I think we are a little bit away from that point right now, because there is regulatory unclarity, especially in US, and that prevents most exchanges from doing that. Maybe if they have clarity, then they will adapt fastly. I believe that. But in current point, no, they are actually don't care about your proof or your privacy. Yeah.
Well, eventually we'll get there. You know, crypto is currently moving entirely out of the United States of America anyway. The United States of America will become, you know, a crypto developing nation, so we will be fine either way soon. All right. That's a really cool project, and wishing you all the best there. What's next, actually? So you're on Girly right now. What's next? When live?
Okay, when live. That was the first question that we also asked to ourselves. Should we fork Tornado and release new version with Proof of Innocence? That was the idea. Then we decided, okay, if we enforce Proof of Innocence, then it will be something else. I don't know. We haven't decided that we should do that or not. Then we try to make it opt-in. Then it will be also become a fork of Tornado. And because of regulatory risk, we didn't take that step. But right now, I think we will make the trusted setup ceremony. Then after making it, we will decide with community. Maybe if, for example, a group of developers deployed privacy pools version 0 on Optimism. That is actually Proof of Innocence with Tornado Classic. In Optimism. They forked and they merged them together. They are doing a slightly different version of our Proof of Innocence, but they are still doing it. This is the next step for us. Right now, we received a grant from Molokda, and we will deploy Tornado Cash Nova with Proof of Innocence, actually.
That's
so
wonderful.
We are developing Proof of Innocence to support arbitrary amount of deposits and withdrawals. So that's an internal transfers, of course. So people can use more advanced and UX-friendly system in their wallet.
So we have this classic Tornado Cash where you can deposit like fixed amounts, like for example 0.1 ETH, 1 ETH, 10 ETH, and so on. And you have Nova where you can deploy like deposit arbitrary amounts. Okay, can you walk us through, like you just mentioned, there is this trusted setup like creation. What does that mean, and what is that needed for?
Okay, it is a little bit ZK and domain specific topic. So
let's get into that.
Okay, cool. So we write our circuit with a proving system called Growth 16. That proving system needs a trusted setup ceremony. So while we are generating our prover, we generate some numbers, and we generate those numbers using some seed, maybe we can call. And if we have that seed, then we can generate proofs that is actually not passing through the circuit, but pass through the verifier. This is something we want to avoid, and every ZK developer wants to avoid. If you have that seed, then you can generate invalid proofs, but verifier will verify that proofs. because
so with that you could like steal money basically, right? So
you can't steal money, but you can prove that you are innocent, but you are not innocent.
Okay, so the money would be safe either way.
Yeah, money will be safe because we are not directly built into the Tornado. But if Tornado trusted setup ceremony was malicious, then they can steal your money. But that's not the case because Tornado trusted setup ceremony, I think, one of the biggest setup ceremonies in the Ethereum ecosystem. So right now we are planning to do trusted setup ceremony to actually divide the seed. For example, if we divide the seed between you and me, then if you delete that seed, then I won't be able to produce invalid proofs anymore.
Now, how many of these kind of individual contributions need to be honest? Like, let's say we have, I don't know, let's say we have 100. How many of these 100 need to be honest?
Just one is enough, actually.
Just one is enough.
Yeah, if just one people delete their seed or refuse to give, then it is fine to make the trusted setup ceremony. Yeah.
So I think that's nice, right? If one person was honestly creating a truly random seed and destroying it, we are fine. Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah, and I think proving systems are developing, and they are really developing fastly. So, for example, new proving system doesn't require that kind of trusted setup ceremonies.
Yeah.
I hope in the future we will be doing, for example, in Tornado Nova, we are planning to write our circuits with Halo 2, which doesn't, I think, require a trusted setup ceremony. For example, kimchi proofs doesn't require trusted setup ceremony. So I think crypto will move forward and trusted setup ceremonies will be invalid in time. Yeah, I hope.
That's great, actually. It's great to hear how much innovation is in the ZK space. Yeah. So we talked a lot about kind of this ZK innovation, what you're building there. Now, kind of, I'm thinking about people who might be listening to this to enter the Web3 space, coming from some other technical background, much like yourself in the past. You know, you had actually on your website, you go into something that I find very useful for such people to talk about, like what technologies should I familiarize myself into? Like, walk us through like a stack of technologies that you think make sense for people to acquire, to learn, and to like, you know, build products with. Like, because you built a bunch of products for a bunch of years now in the Ethereum space. Yeah,
I started with Ethereum and EVM, of course. So I think that path slightly depends on your career plan, maybe we can say. But for example, if you are currently web developer, it is easy to onboard your skills to Web3 because we have some tools, for example, that provide Web3 data in Web2 form. Then you can maybe create a dashboard from that data. I believe that this is also Web3 development because you are enriching the data in Web3 space and you are providing data to Web3 users. Maybe this can be an initial step, but if you want to build, for example, DeFi protocols on Ethereum.
Give us the names of some of the data platforms that you mentioned. Like, what do you think are kind of interesting data platforms that make sense for people to learn and like build with?
Yeah, maybe it is not exactly data platform. Maybe we can say by Dune. I'm using Dune so much. It is not exactly data platform, but if you know how to write SQL, then you can really create interesting data from Dune data sets. Because they just provide you an SQL command line actually, then you can write your SQL using their tables and you can create some interesting dashboards. For example, this is one skill, maybe just
to echo that, we use Dune Analytics at HOPR also a lot. Yeah. It's extremely powerful, easy to learn, and very powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. This can be maybe initial step to create some Web3 product. Then if you want to, for example, create a DeFi product on Ethereum, you can learn Solidity. It is by far the most popular smart contract language, both in Ethereum and both in blockchain ecosystem. This can be initial step if you want to really maybe learn Web3, how not Web3 maybe, but smart contracts and protocols on Ethereum. If you want to learn them, a little bit familiar with Solidity will help you in lots of things. Yeah, you can read smart contracts, and even if it will help you to develop your skills. Yeah. This can be maybe some initial steps, and there's so much frameworks to talk about. I don't know.
Let's say you talked about analytics. You talked about smart contract. Let's say I want to integrate my smart contract into a decentralized application, dApps, how we call them, with the web front end. Like, what do I do? Like, what sort of things should I look into? Because it seems also an overwhelming lot when I come from the outside that I have to acquire.
You're talking about connecting your front end with blockchain, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
I'm connecting my web front end to an Ethereum application. What should I use?
For example, you are doing some DeFi protocol, and this DeFi protocol basically allows you to trade spot through some AMM maybe, yeah. So what first you need to do is just create a user interface like it is in Web2. Because it is same technologies, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and you can write your UI easily. And after that, for functionality, you need to interact with Ethereum ecosystem. And if you are user-facing application and user needs to send something or sign something, then you need to interact with users' wallets. If you want to interact with users' wallets, generally we use the injected Ethereum object inside the web page. So we can easily say window.ethereum, then we can start to talk with users' Ethereum wallet, which is injected to the browser. Then after that point, we can retrieve data from blockchain. We can show some related data. We can retrieve users' address, and we can show pop-ups for users to sign a transaction or sign a message. Yeah, after that point, it is like Web2. Okay, we finished Web2 part, UI design part, UI coding part. Then we start integrating Web3 through wallets actually. Yeah.
Show me a favorite library, like.
Okay, WAGMI. Yeah, I use WAGMI a lot. WAGMI is a React hook, a set of React hooks that allows you to connect your injected browser to your web application. And ConnectKit, if I'm not wrong, WAGMI plus ConnectKit is my favorite combination.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool to hear. Okay. Now. Also here in Istanbul, you're building something. Tell us what you're building at this hackathon.
Okay, I'm building an RPCH integration on a wallet. So maybe I can slightly talk about RPCH. Because for example, 4 months ago, I think I was talking with my colleagues and I said, okay, we have Tor. We can privately maybe send data and retrieve data. Okay, there is some issue with, for example, a big company collects your data through RPCs, and we see that they change their terms of service. Then we see that okay, they are collecting our IP. We already knew that, but they made that public. So I was thinking that okay, can we integrate Tor into RPCs? There is different message formats, and Tor is limited because there is not many Tor nodes, and there is no specific, I think, Web3 integrated protocol with Tor. So I shifted that idea and put it, and after I encountered with HOPR, I see RPCH, then okay, they do what I was talking about.
Cool.
Yeah, okay. RPCH is basically allows you to send data to your RPC and retrieve data from your RPC by using their HOPR mixnet. We call it, yeah. They mix your data and encrypt your data, and that encrypted data passes through multiple nodes. And if that goes to the RPC and that they retrieve your data from RPC and pass to you in the same way. Yeah.
Awesome. Happy to hear that works well.
Yeah.
What wallet integration are you working on?
Currently, we have a team of 3, and we are working on both MetaMask snaps and both Rebuy wallet. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, all the best for the hackathon.
Yeah, thank
now,
you.
Finally, a shout out to your project and Gitcoin. So please explain maybe for the listeners, what is Gitcoin and how can they support you in bringing privacy on Ethereum to the next level?
Yeah, okay. Gitcoin is basically a funding tool that allows people to fund projects built on Ethereum and Ethereum ecosystem. That can be projects, that can be communities, but it's basically a quadratic funding platform for projects and communities, maybe we can say. And Proof of Innocence is a public good project. We don't have any investment on it, and we don't have, for example, any token sale, any sale. So it is a public good, and we wanted to get funded from Ethereum community because it will increase the awareness maybe, and it will be contribution to our company. Maybe I can shout out to my co-founders and other friends, Murat, Esat, Ekrem. They worked really hard on Proof of Innocence and in our other product like Ordinal Safe and etc. And also Tuğçe, Hunter, Talip, Bahadır. They really helped us a lot. And By their help, we started collecting funds on Gitcoin, and yeah, maybe if some people on Ethereum system watch this video, they can go to Gitcoin and contribute to Proof of Innocence. Yeah.
Please do that. Every dollar, every DAI, every whatever token that you contribute is not just matched, but is quadratically matched.
Yeah.
So that's a very interesting thing that I encourage people to read more about quadratic funding. It's a highly fascinating topic, but in one sentence it means the more money you contribute, the more money will be matched to their product, and the more people contribute, small amounts, the more they also get matched. So the more the merrier. If you contribute $1, there's typically more than $1 that is being matched to it. So it's really meaningful, a contribution. I know because the first money that HOPR got before it was even a product was on Gitcoin. I think it was CLR round 2 or 3. So Gitcoin is, the first supporter of HOPR. So I know this can be extremely meaningful. Please support the next generation of meaningful privacy for all of us.
Yeah, thank you.
Any last words from your side for people who come newly into the space, or considering it and didn't quite yet make the move?
Yeah, hackathons, maybe I can talk about. Hackathons was my starting point, actually. I attended a hackathon in Istanbul, then in Barcelona, then in Amsterdam, then in here. I collect some rewards in those hackathons. And in hackathons, I actually find a time for myself to improve my skills in a limited time. So it is really challenging, but it improves you really well. For example, in this RPCH integration, I learned a lot about JavaScript bundlers and WebAssembly, something like that. So yeah, maybe hackathons could be a great starting point. And also the Ethereum ecosystem has lots of open source materials that provide some learning material to the newcomers.
Great. I think that's some great actionable tips to attend hackathons and learn these things. Orkun, thank you again so much for joining us here.
It was nice. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, and bye-bye from Istanbul.